Okay, so we are going to start a TypeScript project from scratch. So here I've just created a brand new GitHub repository. I initialized it with just a README and MIT license, and I just used the URL here to clone it. And so you can see I've cloned this project into the folder users gym git projects, and it's called TypeScript from scratch. These are the only files in it so far, and I also opened this project up here in VS Code. So really not a lot going on here, and that's the point. So we want to create a TypeScript project totally from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do is create our package.json file, and we can do npm init to do that. Package name, I think this is fine, TypeScript from scratch. Version, that's fine, we can just leave that. And pretty much all of these things, I'm just going to say MIT since I put the MIT license in the GitHub initialization. And I'm just going to say yes. And now you can see that this creates our package JSON here. So now what I'm going to do is just create a JavaScript file first, just so we can have something. And I'll just call this foo. Just make it a function, arrow function, and I'll just make a variable called greeting, maybe, and I'll just say hello. And let's just log this greeting I want to log. And we're also going to return this. And now let's just call this function so that we can run it and see that it is working. So back here in the package.json, let's add a start script, and let's just call node index.js here. So now if I do npm start, we can see that it's working fine, it's printing out hello, and everything is happy times. So we have a JavaScript function. Let's start converting this over to TypeScript. So first we're going to need a TypeScript config, tsconfig.json, and going to cheat a little bit by just bringing in a tsconfig properties body from another project. And this is just telling me that I was looking for folders that aren't there yet. In TypeScript, your code is basically compiled, right? Transpiled from TypeScript to JavaScript. So here we're saying that we want to compile everything and put the JavaScript output code in a folder called dist. And if you look closely at the other things here, we want to look for our TypeScript files in source. So I'm going to create a folder called source. I'm going to move this in here. And now I guess I will rename this to be index.ts now. And this is basically the same when it's TypeScript. I guess I could add the type here that it's returning a string, and that should be fine. Let's also bring in a TS lint. And similarly, I'm just going to copy one that I have. Also, all this code I'm going to push to the Git repo here. So feel free to copy these config files and then change them as you need to or want to. So lots of TypeScript rules. Another thing I'm going to do is install lots of packages. So first, let's install TypeScript, and the -d saves it as a dev dependency. So we have TypeScript here. We're also going to want to do type/node. This gives you access to, well, I guess just prevents you from getting lots of TypeScript warnings when you try to use just variables that are in the node namespace and it doesn't know what you're talking about. Also, let's pull in nodemon. This is good for when we want to set up watch mode. TSLint. There's kind of a weird thing where TSLint is sort of going away and it's being pulled into ESLint. But you can do linting differently if you would like to. Okay, so we have a couple things here, and I think that's all we need for now. So we got the ts config. What's this not like? Okay, so that's fine. I just need to save it. And now we are going to create a script to actually compile this TypeScript down to JavaScript. So let's call this compile, and we're just going to run tsc, and that's short for the TypeScript compiler. And so now, if we run this, then next is here. And you can see it's still a function that's creating this greeting variable, logging it and returning it, and then invoking the function. So that's pretty cool. And notice here, let's just, if I just name this something crazy and compile again, notice that it doesn't actually clear out the old stuff from here, which I don't particularly mind that TSC doesn't do it, but I like to clean the whole dist directory. So I just like to nuke it every time, and we can remake it. Maybe we'll keep the folder and just nuke everything inside of it. And so now let's change the start command. So start is going to basically do the clean and then the compile step. Okay? So now if we run this start, it should delete all these files and give us just the index.js and index map. So let's run that, cleaning it and doing the things, and here they are. So that's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Okay, so now the NodeMon, right? We brought in NodeMon, so let's make use of that. And I'm going to maybe just say start watch. This will be like the watch mode script, so that anytime you change some of your code, then the JSON is automatically compiled and your server is restarted for you. Makes development a lot faster and more convenient. So we want to say NodeMon, and we're going to look for files that end in TS. And we're going to want to watch the source directory. And then we're going to execute this command. And we put that command within quotes, but we need to escape them with these backslash. But basically, we're going to run npm start, right? So, if I say npm start watch now, we see NodeMon running everything once and now waiting for changes. So, if I just go into this index here and say, add some exclamation marks. Then, okay, right, so this script actually cleans it, compiles it, but it doesn't run the code, right? So let's add a script just for, so I have maybe clean, compile, and I could just call this local, maybe run local. And I'm going to say node. Now this is in the dist folder, and it's still index.js is the entry point of the project. So now, if I run this, we are up. Wow. Okay, I forgot to add this in here. That was the whole point of doing that. So, cleaning it, running TSC, then we see that we run the actual index.js that is compiled, and we can see our new text lists. If I just go in here and say, hello world, you can see everything gets rerun, recompiled, and it prints out hello world. So that is a good thing. Yes. And from here, I think you are pretty much set to go forth and build awesome TypeScript projects. I have quick bonus for you here, and that is setting up unit testing for TypeScript. I'm going to be using Jest here just because I like it. So let's install some more packages. Let's install Jest. This is also going to be a dev dependency. And I'm just going to pull in the types/jest also. And so there's that. Type/jest, and that's also dev. Okay, so now we want to create a jest.config. Whoa. typing in the wrong spot. Just.config.js. Here, I'm going to paste this. This preprocessor thing, this is something that you will need. Let me just show you, just to show you that we really do need this. So test, we're not going to just echo this thing, we're instead going to say just. And the command is very simple here because we pretty much set everything up in our just.config. So anywhere within the project, we want to look for test files, and I could really say source. And that should also be fine. So let's create a little index.test.ts here. Just going to split this down so that we can see everything. And just describes full of its, right? So I'm going to describe this foo function, and then I'm going to say it should just return the hello string. Whatever this is, I keep changing it, so I'm not going to specify exactly what it is. But then I'm going to say expect foo to equal, and let's just say hello for now. It's going to be a failing test, but that's fine. We can see it fail, make it pass, see it pass, and then we're doing some nice test first coding. Okay. So now if I say npm test, right? And okay, so it's saying that it could not find any test files. Okay, sorry about that. So actually this test match is already looking in the source directory, so all I needed to do was take off that, and you can see that it's finding our test files. And we are getting an error here that foo is not defined, and that makes sense since I'm not importing foo anywhere. So, and actually, I'm not exporting it here. So let's export this const foo. And now let's import it as a named import from index. And now, okay, so this is what I wanted you to see, that Jess is having problems. It doesn't really like it when you just straight up send TypeScript files through it. It wants you to do a little transform thing. So that's fine. So back in the jest here, let me bring this back. This is the transform. So it's saying when you find things with TS file extension, then run it through this preprocessor.js script. And let's create that. Preprocessor.js. This is another little snippet I'm going to grab from another project. And pretty straightforward. We're transpiling the source code. Anything that ends with TypeScript, we're just running it through the TypeScript compiler. And then running tests. So, we have this now. We have this saved. So now if I run the test, then, okay, we're getting something that we would expect. So our actual source code is returning hello world with the 3 exclamation marks, and the test is expecting it to be just hello. So if we change the test to expect the correct thing, now we can come in and run that, and that's nice. It's getting a little bit confusing now with the console log here, so let's just remove that. And now I will also, similar to the watch mode that we created for the start script. Personally, I like to have a watch mode for the tests also. Kind of annoying to have to keep coming back here and running npm test. So let's create a test watch. And this is going to be very similar whenever any of our TypeScript files change. We're going to want to run this command, and this command is of course just going to be just, and if we say test watch, there we go. And so test is passing, we have no mon waiting. So if we change our test files, then we can see the tests are rerun. And if we change our source code files, the tests are rerun. So that's very nice. And so one final thing that I want to add to this project is just a linting script. Okay, so the tslint should take the project flag -p and dot. I'm just going to say this is the project here, this folder. So if I run the linting, then I just get 2 little errors saying that files should end with a new line. And if I say --fix, then it will fix those for me and we're good to go. So that is my little TypeScript from scratch tutorial. I'm going to add all these things. TypeScript project from scratch. Push that up. And thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully you found this video useful and are inspired to code a lot more TypeScript. So, have fun, enjoy, happy times, outrageous fun, happy coding. See you next time.